Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me with Insights with the Elite Psychics. Today, I have a guest on the show. Her name is Solaris. She is extension 7 with the Elite Psychics, and I just want to let you know that she is a timeline astrologer, a remote viewer, and a healer. And if you look at her profile, she is much, much more. So I want to thank Solaris for joining us. How are you?
I'm well, and thank you for having me, Cassandra. Appreciate it.
Oh, of course. This is exciting because I know that you have shamanic healing and illumination, the ET readings, the things that I like. You're a psychic, obviously, but you do so many things. And these are the things that people can really look at you. Like I said, we're an eclectic group of consultants, and you do have a really big list of things that you can do. How'd you get started in this?
Well, for me, I was always kind of younger. I think in my early 20s, I got involved in doing astrology, kind of dabbling in astrology, but then I started to master the timeline astrology, got into the aura readings and also just doing readings on people in general. And that morphed into tarot and other formulas connected to doing oracle readings and just moved on and on. Then I go into levels of, and as I got older, I started to get into levels of doing healing work, receiving initiations to do the teaching of the healing work. And then from that point on, I started writing books, and it just morphs into so many different things. And as you probably know, we go into so many different realms and multidimensional levels that we start acquiring a lot of information so we can apply that to the people we're working with. So yeah, it's been a wonderful journey so far, and I continue to look at other options and more expansion.
And that's one of the things that I found out is how we develop these things. We do it because later on we're able to help those people that come to us. And
Hmm.
we look at it like, hey, I have the answer. I know what you need. Don't worry.
It's true.
and and it's like, oh, that's why I had to go through all that, whatever. But
Right.
to really look at the things that you do and to help people, one of the things that I really wanted to um, uh, talk about today was the crisis healing,
Hmm.
because people, there's something that happens and they need that help right then and there. How can you help them, especially with all your specialties? How does that work over the phone? Because that's the Elite Psychics, it's, online.
Hmm.
How's that work?
Well, if somebody calls me who's in a situation, and it could be a panic attack, it could be a psychic attack, it could be anything in correlation to something changing their behavior that's causing stress, it's just an immediate sending of a lot of energy, light field energies, in association with explaining to them how to ground, how to breathe, and how to kind of recalibrate so they're not having anxiety. We can go through affirmations and meditations depending on what the client requests, but most of the time I kind of follow my intuition with that to see what I can do immediately. There's an encompassing of a field to help them integrate and just kind of ground the field so that it's not spiking out and they're not getting the type of trauma or the crisis they're going through. Other times it's more prayer for a support system for somebody maybe who's had an accident or something. We want to project and send energy to that situation, and
Ah,
we dial it down. So if it's inflamed in some way, we kind of dial it down through our own affirmations and the energy work that we're doing. And I say we because you know how it works with us. Beings like us, we work with multidimensional beings, our guides, our higher selves, oversoul, superconscious, and also the higher self of the person who's calling and working with them and their beings that they work with.
so you just tap in and
Right.
help them, by what it is that they need as
Hmm.
far as getting them out of the crisis.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And that's just by talking, of course.
A lot of the time it is. Yeah.
Okay. And then what you're doing is you're helping these people to just come back to themselves. Because
Exactly.
when we have that crisis, that's when we're scattered. It's like everything's just blown up.
Hmm.
And then
Absolutely.
you tap into that takes, I would think that would take a very strong person to do to help someone in that um, particular circumstance.
Hmm. I
Okay.
agree. Yeah, I think it's kind of like chaos. I work well in chaos. I
Chaos.
hate to say it, but I can navigate through chaos very well, and I find that instead of taking the hit of that energetic, I can
Hmm.
transmute it alchemically. And I find that a lot of people who are in those situations in that radius when they're working with me usually can transmute it as well. They find out how, anyways.
Oh, I see. Okay. Which one of these do you really like? I mean, you really can focus on and you have more experience in, I guess, or are all of them about the same?
I think they're pretty much the same, to be honest with you. My timeline assessment in astrology is probably my forte. That's a really good one if people really want to dial in and look at their timeline, their primary timeline versus an alternate timeline. So say if I do a look and see their blueprint, their cosmic blueprint, and all of a sudden I realize that they are on an alternate timeline, which is taking them away from the trajectory of their primary timeline, then that's a good way to look and see where they're heading on this realm. So that to me is one of my favorites that I like to do, and it seems to be very popular. But the energy work and everything else, remote viewing is really fun. It just depends on what they're needing, but I can cover a lot of different areas.
So with timeline astrology, what is it that you need from the client to do that?
For the timeline astrology, it's a little more extensive, so I'd need their date of birth, the year they were born, the city, the location in the United States or wherever they're born. So kind of like the entire snapshot. And of course, if they have the time of birth, that's great. If not, then it's not really that relative. But just to get a snapshot and a blueprint insofar as what the energies were when they entered onto the timeline here, and then I can dial in further.
Okay, that that's just fascinates me how you can do that, um, especially over the phone. So I know I've tried to get some astrology readings, and well, I'll get back to you in about an hour because they have to do your chart.
Well,
I
yeah, it does take a long time, and that's true too. So it does take a few minutes,
Mhm.
but I can at least get a snapshot. I can look at the numerology, and I can kind of see what's going on, and
Mhm.
give them a relative viewpoint insofar as that goes. But yeah, in order to get more in-depth information, they probably need a longer session. Absolutely.
Right, right. And that's where on the site, we offer flat rates and we also offer per minute. So anyone who wants something done, we don't have to rush. It's like, okay, I want to do this. And that
Correct.
always makes a difference, because we're trying to get an answer and we don't want to go so fast that we miss out on something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now I'm looking at the dream interpretation. I could have used you the other night, um,
Oh.
especially with that dream interpretation and the lost objects. I like
Mm-hmm.
that too. How do you zone in on lost objects?
Well, usually with the lost objects, I'll just look at a field. So if someone is looking for a particular zone of information or a particular object, I'll just kind of dial in and see
Hmm.
what comes in insofar as what appears on the stream. And with that comes a location usually. So for that, I can get some kind of a definition between where they are or where this object is located. So that's kind of like remote viewing, basically. Just kind of dial in and give them an idea of where to look and what's coming in insofar as in association with where they need to go on that
Okay.
level.
Then that we just opened up another subject, the remote viewing.
Hmm.
And how did you get into that?
Well, it's a long story with the remote viewing, but I've always been able to kind of see with my multidimensional sight and psychic vision. I'm sure you can. And with that comes a more dialed in kind of expansion. With the remote viewing, it was more integrated with the technology I was interfaced with a long time ago in 2004. And that seemed to have morphed into a way to be able to stream and see things with a different lens, which
Hmm.
is, it really works very well when it comes down to being able to access data and look for whatever it is I want to see. So with that, it's a little more technological, I think, this particular remote viewing that I do, but it's definitely effective. And yeah, I just kind of evolved with it.
Okay. That the remote viewing, I've I kind of stumbled upon it when
Yeah.
when when I started it. It's, oh, okay, yeah, I know what your house looks like. I know what this looks like. I'm kind of zoning in there. And most people, all the things that we do, we just specialize in it. We, have taken it to another level. But everything that is about us is about helping other people. So all of these things, that's why I like the elite psychics, because we specialize in certain things. And I'm not making light of psychic readings because those are very important, but all the other things that we have to offer clients. I mean, anything and everything you could think of, the shamanic healing, um, for a shaman, they come to you for that healing, and you use that modality in whichever way you do, because I'm not a shaman, but you can help people through that, not just a psychic reading. So all of the things that you offer are, it's like a plethora of everything and anything you could think of, even fairy readings.
Hmm. Exactly. Well, I find that once you get into the metaphysical realm and the levels of multidimensional sight, it seems like all of these different components blend in. And what
Right.
we're doing is just kind of defining them a little bit differently. But yeah, and the fairy is a wonderful field to work with energetically. I know a lot of people who really enjoy working with the fairy, and it's really fun.
Hmm.
That's a very light one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had a couple of them that have showed up in pictures for me, which
Right.
is really, really fun. That's like the coolest thing. And the angel readings, because not everyone is into psychic readings.
Hmm.
So you get this from your angels, from the fairies. You obviously, in psychic readings, you can get them from past loved ones or from your guides. So, like, you can tap into people's guides. That's what you're saying that you do. You get that information
Hmm.
from what I call their people. So, anyone
Hmm.
and everyone who's there to help, we just tap into that. So, when we do this, then we're saying, hey, this is my specialty, this is what I do, and this is how I can help you. So the Reiki, I see that you're certified as a Reiki
Hmm.
master teacher.
Hmm.
Reiki, the long distance healing, I'm assuming that's what you do on here also.
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So that is, I have experienced firsthand the long distance healing, and it really works. You
Hmm.
can
Oh, absolutely.
really, really feel that.
Hmm. I agree totally. Yeah, they can be around the world and they'll still be able to feel it. Even remote healing, even if they're not on the line, we can do remote distant healing as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's all energy.
correct.
Everything is energy, and that's the great part about this is you can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's you're sending someone energy, and you're also sending them what it is they need right at that very moment. I just look at all of these things and think, why wouldn't someone benefit by calling you?
Well, I have to agree.
I know. Not like we're prejudiced or anything, but
No.
I've gotten readings from you and they're fantastic. And I've gotten the timeline astrology done by you, and it's just amazing. So
Thank you.
all of these things that are combined with you, it's just like an amazing, you're one person with everything. So you're like a one-stop shop.
Truly, I do my
Yeah,
best, and I find that it's really an honor also to be here with you on the site. And I want to thank you also for creating this platform because I find it to be such a benefit. And as you were saying, it's so helpful for people who are seeking
right.
something. They'll get anything. In my opinion, I think whatever they're looking for, they're definitely going to find it
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
definitely going to find it one way or the other.
Hmm.
So, is there anything that you would like to end the conversation with?
The only thing for now, I think this has been a fabulous conversation, and I look forward to connecting again and talking. And I encourage anybody out there listening to call me and get an angel reading or chakra alignment or do something and have fun. We'll have a great conversation.
Oh, yeah, the chakras. I forgot about that one. Okay,
Hmm.
so you can reach Solaris at 833-457-8377. She is extension 7. And the great thing about the site is if you do want to speak with her and for some reason she is not available, you can request that she call you back. So we're open 24/7. We're here when you need us, and just keep listening, and we hope to help you in the near future. So thank you so much, Solaris, for being on the show. Thank
Thank
you
you, Cassandra.
everyone for listening, and we'll be bringing you some other interviews with our other elite psychics soon.